So first of all, good evening, everyone, and welcome you to this webinar on design thinking, ideas to innovation. And on behalf of ProThoughts, I welcome you all for this webinar. So just a quick question before we move ahead. Have you all heard about design thinking, or has any of you worked in design thinking? Just wanted to quickly ask before we move ahead. So have you heard about this term, what exactly it is, or what is design thinking all about? Anyone, I mean, and that's okay, even if you have not worked on it, this is first time if you are hearing this, but just wanted to take a quick dipstick so that we know that how I have to cover. So if you can just use the chat window to let me know that have you heard about design thinking, or have you, I mean, are you aware about design thinking, or what do you think? Okay, so shall I assume that all of you are new to design thinking? Shall I go ahead and assume that all of you are new to design thinking, because I've not got any response to the earlier question? Okay, fine. So I'll assume that all of us are new to design thinking, and it's something maybe a Greek and Latin right now to everyone. So something about myself. My name is Ashutosh Bhatawadekar. I have 21 years of experience in the field of a software industry. And my last few years have been predominantly into agile coaching, consulting, and coaching. And I'm a practicing design thinker and a coach. And that's my LinkedIn profile. So if you would like to connect with me on LinkedIn, please feel free to reach out to me and connect with me on LinkedIn. And I'll be talking about what design thinking is today, and what is the purpose of design thinking, or why design thinking is so important in our world. And I would like this session to be an interactive session rather than I speaking. I would also like inputs from your side so that it becomes an engaging session. All right, so I would expect you to also contribute as we build and learn from each other. So as I said, I've been practicing design thinker and a coach, and I've been into consulting and coaching teams into design thinking, agile, and as I said, also into transitioning teams from a traditional way of working into an agile way of working. So that's my profile. I have worked for banking industry, telecom, financial services, then semiconductors, and also for entertainment domain. So that's been my, I would say, the experience so far. And in each of these places, I have applied design thinking principles. So now it's time to understand what design thinking is all about. So before we go into design thinking, let me quickly take you through an icebreaker question, a quick icebreaker question. And can you identify what this picture is? Can you identify what this picture is, anyone? And please use the chat window to communicate. What is this picture about? Yes, anyone? Anyone would like to go ahead and tell what this picture looks to you, or what is this picture? What comes to your mind when this picture comes to you? I hope I'm audible. Just checking here. Yes, anyone? I hope you can see me also now. What this picture is, what I've just now projected on screen. I hope you can see the picture which I've projected on screen. Yeah, I think I'm not able to, I think, see your chat. Otherwise, I think that's a problem I'm getting here. Are you reading my chat? I hope you're reading, getting hold of my chat. You can unmute and speak. I think that would be better. If you can just unmute. Hi friends, can you all hear me? Yeah, can you all hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you all hear me now? Hello? 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 Can you all hear me now, friends? Can you all hear me? Hello? Hello? As I'm speaking, can you hear me? Okay, great. And let me share the screen now. Is it now audible? Sorry, visible? Is the screen visible? Okay. Okay, fine. So let me start once again. So my name is Ashutosh, and I'm an agile coach and a trainer. And I'm involved in transforming teams from a traditional way of working into an agile way of working. I have a total of experience of around 21 years in the industry, and started my career with the traditional way of working, and then moved into the agile way of working. So I have my full name is Ashutosh Bhatawadekar. So those of you who are interested can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm a practicing design thinker and a coach. So I just had a question before we move ahead. How many of you have know about the term design thinking? How many of you know about the term design thinking, or how many of you have worked in design thinking before I move ahead? So just wanted to check on that. No, but not worked. Okay, very new to it. Okay. How about others? Anyone else? Anyone else would like to add familiar with it? Okay, great. Great. Okay. And I mean, you can, so let's keep it an interactive session. Let's keep this as an interactive session so that we learn from each other. Okay. So let me start with a quick icebreaker question. And let me ask you, what is this picture all about? What, when you look at this picture, what do you think about this? Any guesses what this picture is? Projector, music player. Okay. Great. How about others? Anyone would like to give it a recorder? Okay. Video cassette recorder. Okay. Quite interesting. Anyone else? We have 27 people. I've got responses from only 4 or 5. Projector. Okay. Video projector. Okay. Multi-purpose device. So what do you mean by that? Multi-purpose device. Camera. Okay. That's interesting. So far, none of you have given me the correct answer, by the way. Only 1 or 2 people are closer, but none of you have given me the correct answer so far. Okay, so let me reveal the mystery. Let me reveal the mystery here. And so that, and then I will set the context. This is the world's first digital camera, and it was created by a company called Kodak. How many of you know about this company, Kodak? I'm sure you would have heard about Kodak, right? I'm sure you would have heard about it. This company, Kodak. This is the world's first digital camera developed in the year 1977 by a company called Kodak, which was a pioneer in photography. And obviously, as what happens with any innovation, this innovation was ridiculed. So when this photographic equipment was shown to the Kodak management, they simply trashed this idea, saying that no one would like to watch photos on a digital media. No one would like to buy such a useless product. People love the touch and feel photos. No one would like to watch photos on TV. This weighed around 8 pounds. It had a resolution of 0.01 megapixel, and it captured black and white photographs, and it took about 20 seconds to capture photographs on a tape. So this was the instrument which Kodak, an engineer in Kodak developed first, which was ridiculed, as I said. So what do you think I'm trying to tell with this example? What is it that I'm trying to tell here? Any guesses? Any guesses? Any quick guesses? What exactly I'm trying to tell here with this? So I mean, any particular reason why I've taken this example, where I've shown you a digital camera which was which was developed in the year 1977, and maybe Swatendra, you can go ahead. I've unmuted you, or Rajeshri, I have unmuted you. You can go ahead and speak. Yes, anyone? Anyone would like to add here? People rejected the idea. Initially, obviously, there is going to be, I would say, obviously, there is going to be initially a resistance. That's absolutely right. People are going to resist this idea. Absolutely correct. So people are going to resist the idea. What else? What else? Yeah. Yes. So what else? People don't want change. Yes.
Absolutely. We should not listen to criticism. No, but here your management is saying this. Here your management is saying this. Product evolution, absolutely right. Yes. See, obviously, the beginnings of everything are smaller. The beginnings of everything is going to be smaller. So obviously, if you have an idea, you will never go to the final product in the first case itself, right? You will never go to the first iteration, you will get the final product. It has to be through a series. It has to be through a series of steps where you hit out to the final product. And if you look at the history, the irony of the piece is that in 2011, Kodak became bankrupt. So, what went wrong with a company like Kodak, which ruled photography for almost 80, 85 years? They could not go ahead with the times, right? The competition was lurking on them, but they could not identify the competition. In fact, one of the major difference or one of the major flaws in Kodak's business strategy was they thought that film and paper is their core business and let us concentrate on that. But digital came in and completely change that market dynamics. This is what happens. Now, the world which you see around us or around you, you will find that the entire world has changed upside down. And not talking about COVID. I'm talking about what has happened even before COVID came in. There's a lot of disruption which is happening around us. And in majority of the cases, you will find that the competition is not from your industry. The competition is from somewhere else. For example, in Mumbai, we have auto rickshaws and we have the Lal Pili cab, right? Sorry, the Kali Pili cab or the black and yellow cabs. The black and yellow cabs thought that their competition was auto rickshaw, whereas it turned out to be Uber and Ola. And we don't even know whether these are automobile companies or whether these are digital companies because they don't own any inventory. Similarly, hotels. Ola is a competitor, Airbnb is a competitor. But are they actually hotel companies or are they digital companies? We don't even know. So, this is where the real challenge occurs. The world where we are living in, we don't know where our competition is going to come from. So, we always need to innovate. We always need to come out with innovative products. And one of the blunders which Kodak did was they did not do any further research on this technology. Otherwise, they would have patented it. They would have been multi-billionaires by now. What happened was the latecomers in this world of digital photography, they took a leap and suddenly one day they displaced Kodak out of the business. So this was a management short-sightedness. This was management's lack of vision, which came in the way of Kodak not being able to survive in this VUCA world. We call this as a VUCA world. What is VUCA world? Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and adaptive and ambiguity. So volatility, yeah, VUCA, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. That's the VUCA world, what we call, and we are currently living in what we call as the VUCA world. So things really don't happen as we can predict. So until and unless we innovate, we are not going to survive or we are not going to sustain in this world, right? So that's what went wrong with Kodak, and one of the blunders which they did, right? So that was the starting point I wanted to go ahead with. Now let us try to move ahead and let us try to understand what went wrong with this company. The traditional razor and a blade model, right? So you have earlier days you used to have a razor and then you used to have a blade, so people had to buy both of them. Folks had to buy both of them. What happened was a twin blade came in the market and it entirely disrupted companies like this. So you found that the entire set of older companies were disrupted and they were out of the market. So that's what happens with these kind of organizations. If you look at, right, over reliance on what we call as the razor and blade model. So Kodak also had this same syndrome. They thought that people will buy cameras and people will also buy film, but suddenly the film and the camera became one in a digital photography. And as a result, what happened was companies like Kodak, companies like these companies like High Stainless Steel or Topaz, they were completely out of the business. They were completely uprooted from a industry standpoint of view. So this is the mantra which I wanted to start with. Innovation is the mantra. If you don't innovate, you are bound to be out of the business. Any idea how long does a normal company survive in today's world? Any guesses on an average? An organization, when it comes in the business, how long does it survive? 100 years, 150 years, 200 years? What do you think? 15 years? Okay. How about others? 5 years? Yeah, it is between around 15 to 20 years. It's still not bad as 1 year or 2 years. I mean, I don't know if the data changes after COVID, but it is around 20 years is the standard lifespan of an organization. And obviously, you have to come out with innovative products. You have to come out with innovation. Otherwise, you will not survive in the industry. You're bound to go out of your business. Now coming to our topic of design thinking, what design thinking is all about. Okay. And obviously, a very famous quote by a very famous person: we cannot solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. This is by Albert Einstein. And I would strongly recommend you to read also another book, which is on the right hand side of that screen. What got you here won't get you there. This is by Marshall Goldsmith, the coaching guru, who clearly articulates that you might have solved a problem yesterday. And if you're getting a similar problem today, and if you try to apply the same techniques to solve, you will probably end up in a disastrous result, or it might be a disaster there. So what got you here is definitely not going to get you there, right? That's the new mantra in which we are living. As I said, the VUCA world, the world of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. That's the world where we are living in today. All right, let's move ahead. So what is design thinking all about? So it's not really a new concept. It's a concept which was founded by a D School of Stanford University in the year 72. And the whole intent of design thinking is a human centric problem solving approach. So you keep the people at the center, the people who are facing problem, you keep them at the center, and you try to understand their pain points. You try to identify what are their current problems, and you try to solve their problems. So it's a user centric approach, and keeping the user at the center, we try to come out with a solution to the challenges or the problems which the user is facing. So that's what we do as a part of our design thinking approach. So it's an iterative process. It's not a linear process. It might appear that it's a linear process, but it's an iterative process what we need to understand. Okay, I'm just putting up a whiteboard here. Let me know if you can see my whiteboard also. I've just put across a whiteboard here. Can you all see the whiteboard? Yeah, I hope everyone can see the whiteboard. Yes, okay, great. Thank you. Okay, now design thinking, although it came in 70s, the concept was used much before that. So if you remember, there was an operation, a military operation done by Israeli armed forces. Have you heard about this Operation NTB? There's a Hollywood movie also on this, Operation NTB. If you have not heard or read about it, I would strongly recommend you to read this. It's on Wikipedia. And in fact, you should also watch the Hollywood movie, Operation NTB. So there was an Israeli aircraft, a passenger Israeli aircraft, which was captured by an enemy country, Uganda. And in those days, I'm talking about 1976, by the way. In those days, there was no internet, there was no WhatsApp, there was no, I would say, even any digitization to that extent what we have today. It was an enemy country. They simulated where exactly that aircraft could be located, how to approach that hostile territory, and how to evacuate passengers from that area. And they did this within a span of 1 hour. So within 1 hour they could evacuate. So just look at the geography. Okay, Israel and Uganda, you will see the difference, how spread they are geographically, how far they are geographically. This entire Operation NTB, which was done by Israeli armed forces, to evacuate a hijacked aircraft from an enemy territory is based on design thinking principles. So design thinking is not something which we use only in IT, or which we use only in, let us say, day-to-day work for designing a new product. It has been used in armed forces, it has been used in space research, it has been used for government projects, and it has been used for developing IT products and the products of the like of Uber and Ola. But I would strongly recommend, if you have not read about Operation NTB, please do read it. And it's a very interesting case study. And you know what? In the aircraft, the rescue aircraft, they had armed forces of Israel armed forces. They had a black color Mercedes. They simulated a black color Mercedes because the black color Mercedes is of the Ugandan president. So when the aircraft actually landed on the airstrip in Uganda, they first offloaded the Mercedes, and the Mercedes started moving towards the passenger aircraft. The hijackers actually thought that the president is coming to visit them. So that's how they disguised this entire operation. There were only two casualties in that entire operation, but they could safely evacuate 140 plus passengers within a span of 1 hour from an enemy territory back to Tel Aviv. So that was one of the most daring operation which was done using design thinking principles. Later on, I'll also show you some Indian examples where design thinking has been extensively applied. All right, so it's an iterative process where we understand the pain points of the user, we challenge assumptions, we redefine the problem. We redefine the problem from a user's perspective, and it's about divergent thinking and converging solution. So you have to think divergently. You don't have to restrict your input. You have to think all the possible combinations and try to get ideation from multiple sources and then go towards a convergent solution. So that we'll see the process. And one of the important things about design thinking is that it is used to solve wicked problems. Wicked problems are those problems which cannot be solved with normal way of thinking. You have to think out of the box. You have to think beyond what um, things are, or what is visible to the eye. So that is what is called as a wicked problem. So it's a technique which is used for solving wicked problem. And as I said, wicked problem means which are and it's a technique which is focused on keeping the focus on the human centric approach. You have to show something, you just don't have to talk, you have to demo it. You have to demo a prototype at the end of design thinking. The product should be biased towards action, and it involves radical collaboration. It involves collaboration between teams, it involves collaboration between end users, between customers. That is what is a part and parcel of your design thinking process, what we need to understand. And along with, it's a strong culture of prototyping what we have. Are you all able to hear me, friends? Are you all able to hear me? Yeah, I think Rakesh sir, you lost me. Okay, great. So let's move ahead. Let us move ahead and let us try to further understand this. Now, for any product to be feasible or a product to be conceptualized, there are three things which are important. The first one is desirability of the people. People should long for that product. That product should be desirable. Then the product should be feasible. It is something which should be feasible. And the third thing, it should be viable. Three important things. This is called as ideas lenses of innovation. If you have a product which is just in between people and business, then it's more of an emotional innovation. There is no technology to support that product. If it's a product which people desire and which the business finds it viable, then it is more of an emotional innovation. There is no feasibility, there is no technology feasibility for that product. So that comes under emotional innovation. If there's a product where we have the people and the technology, but business viability is not there, it's more on the process innovation side. Those products mostly go into the process innovation side, what we have. And if you have a product which is there for business and technology circle, but people don't want it, then it's more of a functional innovation. So can you tell me a product which is there in the market which people don't want, but the viability is there and the technology is there? Can you name me any product which falls in business and the technology circle, but not in the people circle yet? Any guesses? What could that product be? So business, yes, and technology, yes. Robos. Mm-hmm. Uh, depends again. Depends again. People want robos, right? Otherwise, there would not have been so much of skilling for AI, right? Why would people go for AI? Timekeeping attendance, no. Virtual reality, no, it still is there. People want virtual reality. All of us want to go for a IMAX movie theater, right? At least I have gone for that movie, an IMAX defense equipment. No, people want it. Obviously, each one of us wants to be secure, right? Who will say that don't spend on defense? I don't think any country can do that. Any people will say that. Think of it, drones. No, people want it. I'm sure you will get a drone if your kid asks, right? So business is there, technology is there. Analog camera probably now, yes, but no one produces analog camera nowadays. Space travel, no, it is still there. People want it. Elon Musk, right? He has set up a first private. So I'll give you the example. Google Glass, you remember? A product called Google Glass. How many of us bought that product, Google Glass? I hope you know what is a Google Glass. No one bought that product. No one really bought that product. No one desired it actually. So Google produced that product. It was feasible. It was technologically very innovative product. The business viability was there, but no one bought it. Those kind of products. Okay, today we are all asking for a COVID vaccine. So where is COVID vaccine right now? In which circle it is lying? Can you tell me? COVID vaccine. By the way, COVID vaccine is also a product as per the strict definition of a product. If no one buys it, how is the business viability? No, sir, business viability is not about people buying. Business viability is about producing the product. Does it make sense for me to produce? Am I getting the ROI? If you do the ROI calculation of Google Glass, it is definitely there is a ROI. That's why Google went ahead with it. So COVID vaccine is in where? COVID vaccine is where? Do people desire COVID vaccine? Do people, is the desirability factor there for COVID vaccine? Yes, it is there. Business viability? Probably yes. We don't know yet. Probably yes. And technical feasibility? No. Technical feasibility? No. See, again, there's a question from Gaurav. I'm answering that question. See, when Google did a business viability, obviously they had done those calculations that people will buy it. Otherwise, why would I produce something, right? But people did not desire it. People wanted to buy it, but they did not want to desire it. There's a difference between buying and desirability. There's a subtle difference between them, which is where it failed there. So coming back to COVID vaccine, the technology feasibility is not there. The business viability, we don't know. It is 50-50, but assuming that it is there, because that's where a lot of medical fraternity is going there, right? Lot of vaccine companies are moving into the business viability. So for a product to be successful, it has to be in all the three circles. Then only we can say that we have created a fully innovative product. And any product which is in the all three circles is in that sweet spot. We call it as the sweet spot what we have. So that's the sweet spot what we have from a innovation perspective. All right, let's move ahead. So design thinking is a six-phased approach where we talk about the six phases as empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test, and implement. And although it looks like a linear process, it is not linear in nature. You can come back from one phase to another phase. So for example, after empathize, you go to define, and from define, you can come back to empathize. If you realize that the definition process, there was some glitch, or there's some issue in that define process, you can come back to the empathize process again. You are in ideate, you can come back to define, or you are in prototype, you can come to ideate. So there are multiple cycles between each of these circles. And as I said, it employs divergent thinking. So you have to get maximum possible ideas into the bucket, and then you have to crystallize those ideas, and then you have to narrow down towards the solution. That's how you'll have to go towards a final preferred solution as a part of design thinking process. So what is empathize? Empathizing is a process by which we tend to understand what is the real problem of the end user. What are they currently feeling? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? What are the current pain points what they are facing today? So that's the empathize process what we have. And one of the tools which we use for empathize is the empathy map. So I'll show you the empathy map. An empathy map is something like this. It shows you what your current users are feeling currently about the problem. What do they feel? What do they see? What are their pain points? What are their gains? What does he or she hear? And this is called as the empathy map. And to create an empathy map, you should clearly identify the persona. So it's very important that you identify who is the persona. Persona is the user of your system. The person who's going to use your system is called as a persona. So it's very important to identify who the persona of your system would be. For example, if you look here, there is an empathy map for a persona named Rebecca. And this is for Spotify. This is for the music online streaming company Spotify. If you look here, persona has got a name, persona has got a age, persona has got some vital demographic information, and where is the person located, the income, etc., approximate income. And from a product perspective, you try to identify what are the likes and dislikes of that persona. Like Spotify is an online streaming music streaming app, so we have clearly listed here what is the persona trying to gain from Spotify, what are the current challenges she is facing, and how she would like this product to evolve over a period of time, and who influences Rebecca's decision, which music to listen to. And if you see, the circle of influence is her own instinct or her own taste. Friends form a very small portion, co-workers form a very small portion, and ads is very, very less. And music charts is also very, very less. So that is what we create as a part of our persona creation through empathy mapping. So this is one of the most powerful tool which we use in design thinking. And the purpose of this is to come out with an empathy map. And what is an empathy map used for? An empathy map is used to know more about our end users. What do they like? What do they don't like? What do they dislike? All that would come into our empathy map or a empathize phase. The next phase is what we call as the define phase. So we consolidate all our empathy maps and we find out a consolidated list of problems, that these are the problems what our users are facing. These are their pain areas, and obviously we will have to prioritize those problems. We will have to make sure that those problems are prioritized, and then we attack those problems one by one. So that is what we do as a part of define. And define, we use tools like brainstorming, we use tools like interviews, we use tools like innovator compass. I'll show you what is the innovator compass shortly. So those are the tools by which we define the problem statement, and we come out with a list of problems and we prioritize those problems. The third step is very, very crucial, which is ideation. You come out with crazy and creative ideas. Now, these can be as crazier as it can done as it can be. So we come out with crazy ideas which tries to address the met and the unmet needs of the user. So these crazy ideas can be anything. For example, we applied design thinking for solving the traffic issue in our Bangalore office. We came up with a very crazy idea that why don't we build a kind of a subway there in our premises. So we ourselves take it on our own rather than waiting for the government authorities to do it. So that was a crazy idea which was never implemented. But make sure you have those crazy ideas. The more, the better. And then you prototype them. Then you prototype those crazy ideas. And once the prototype is approved, you then test it and then implement it. Now, it might happen that after test, you have to come back to prototype again, or after test you have to go back to ideation phase once again. So there's a multiple cycle with which we go through in this journey, and we try to come out with a product which tries to cater to the met and the unmet problem statements, or met and unmet user needs of the main user with whom we are trying to empathize. So as I said, it's not a linear process, it's a cyclical process, and we do it multiple times to come out with the solutions to the problem. Now, let me show you something here. I'm just unsharing my screen for a minute, and let me show you some interesting stuff out here. Can you see this product which has been developed by one of the teams in a workshop? Can you see this? Everyone, can you see this shoe? It's a shoe actually, they have prototyped. So this team had come out with a prototype of a shoe, and the shoe had got actually a fitness meter on top of it, embedded inside it. So it had got a chip actually. So this is a chip. They had actually created a chip which goes into the toe, and this actually acted as a security mechanism. That was the idea. And this shoe was developed for senior citizens. So senior citizens, as we know, right, I mean, they are not that tech savvy, so many times they might not carry mobile with them. So this team came out with a shoe for senior citizen, wherein you embed a chip and it will send the GPS location of the senior citizen. So if this person gets lost, then this person can be traced out very easily. So this was a very innovative idea, and this was a problem statement which was identified, that how do we keep a track of senior citizens, especially when they go out to market and if they get lost, right? So that was a shoe which they had come out with. So another view of that shoe. So this was a prototype. This was more of a prototype which the team had come out with. So this was an intelligent shoe with which they had come out. And then there were some personas also which were there. There were some personas also which they had come. This was for some other project. This was for an other project which they had come out with, which they had. Okay, so this is the empathy map or a persona which they had come out with. Okay, so this was a empathy map or a pain point, as you can see. So this was a detailed exercise which we had created. It was a detailed exercise with which we had come out with this, and we had created this as a part of this. So whenever we do a workshop, it is a detailed exercise with which we come out with these models. As you can see, nightshade. So one team had come out with this model of a nightshade, and it had actually got a speakers and Alexa controlled with it, along with a digital clock, right? So this was a more of a table lamp. This was a table lamp with dynamic controls and a woofer system along with it. So this was another thing what had come out with, and obviously there were some interesting personas which the team had come out with it, right? So this is the first step. You have to understand clearly who your end users are, what are their pains, what are their gains, and this is the actual prototype of that nightshade what they had come out with. So it's a very interesting subject, and it's all about innovation. It's about innovation, how you can bring about innovation in your team, how you can bring about innovative products, right? Similar to what Mr. Steve Jason, by the way, the name of the scientist who came out with the digital camera was Steve Sasson, who developed this as Eastern Kodak came out with. So this is something which is what is a part of design thinking process. Now let me show you some Indian example here. What is so innovative in this product? Sorry, yeah. What is so innovative in this product? Can anyone tell me? I don't know if anyone owns this card. Anyone would like to have here? No, chip card is there everywhere, right? Every bank is giving a chip card. That's not an innovation here. Credit and a debit card. Yes, absolutely right. One card, credit and a debit in one card itself. Credit and debit comes in one card itself. So you can decide at runtime which side to use, right? Which side to use, whether to use the left hand side or whether to use the right hand side. So you have clubbed a debit and a credit card into one single card. So this is an innovation. Yeah, yeah, you missed it. That's okay. Many people miss that, but it's a debit and a credit card into one single. So you know what this bank has achieved? It has made sure that the customer does not go to a different bank for a different credit card. And plus, from a bank perspective, what is the benefit? One is that they got customer for both credit and debit card. One major advantage, in fact, I was reading about it is, let's say default on credit card. Let's say default on credit card. They can easily take the money from my debit card or the bank account linked to my debit card. They can easily track it because it's the same bank. So there's very little scope for me to defaulting here on my payment. They can easily track it and they can pull the money from there, right? So that's the advantage what we have here. That's the critical advantage what we have here from a debit and a credit card perspective what we have. No, no, it's not illegal, by the way. So Gaurav is saying it's illegal. No, it's not illegal. I think nowadays they are very strict. If you are tied up to a CRM, your entire CIBIL score can be messed up there. Your entire CIBIL score will go down. So I've worked in the banking industry. It's perfectly legal. They can take it out. I mean, the contract says now the new credit card contracts, they have a built-in agreement there wherein they can actually pull the money from your banking account. Okay. And obviously your CIBIL score is going to be impacted, right? That's another thing. Okay. So that is one thing. What about this? An example of lockdown. I'm sure you have seen this on WhatsApp. It has come on WhatsApp, right? This picture. What is this? Social distancing, business social distancing, right? I mean, a milkman giving milk like this, right? That's a social distancing what we have. How do we make sure that we get the best of both worlds? We don't come closer to the person and we get the work done also. So these are some of the examples from an Indian context, which I thought would be very, very interesting to understand here. But remember one thing, that design thinking is all about innovation. It's not that only few people can innovate in this world. Each one of us has got the ability to innovate. Each one of us has got the power to innovate. And as I said, do read that story of Operation NTB. You will get a lot of insights into how design thinking principles were applied, how this entire country could actually pull out 140 passengers from a hostile territory, and how they could actually scuttle that operation and do it, and then bring back people. I think you should read that in the context of design thinking. So I also wanted to show you some other tools of design thinking here, and let me open up that here. Yes, so I'm just opening up another screen here, and let me come back here. So one of the tools what we have is, as I said, the innovator compass. And innovator's compass is another tool which is used in design thinking. So I'll just open it up for you here. And an innovator compass works on 4 quadrants. So the left hand side talks about, okay, the left hand side talks about what we call as the key observations about the product, the principles which are pertaining to the end user and the observations. The right hand side talks about the ideas and experiments we could be doing. So let me show you a real case study which we had done for Practo. So everyone knows Practo, right? Everyone knows what Practo is into, right? It's an online medical company. It's an online medical company. I mean, it will actually, it's not a medical company to be per se, it's more of like an aggregator. It's a medical aggregator what we have. And if you look at Practo, we had come out with what could be the innovation in COVID period for them. So this was for Practo. So obviously on the left hand side, you will see what all is Practo known for. It is known for best in class service, honesty, transparency, home service. And the problem statement we were facing was obviously because of lockdown, people were not coming out, so they could not take appointments for doctor. People were not traveling, and people were scared to visit clinic, obviously, right? They were very, very scared to visit clinic. So the idea we came out was that what if we assure people that hygiene is being followed? What if we give a doorstep service to them? What if we give an online consultation through video audio, and if we give some concession to senior citizen? So these were the ideas which came out of the design thinking session. And what were the experiments we did was, can we upload videos of yoga to start with, so that people watch them and start exercising? Then can we do a prototype of doorstep consulting, and then online consultation experiment? Can we do an one-to-one with the doctor? And these were some of the ideas which we decided to go ahead with and implement them, so that the revenue of the organization or the revenue of Practo does not come down. So this is called as innovators compass. This is another tool which is used in design thinking. Either you can use the empathy map and a brainstorming session, or you can use a innovators compass to find out what are the ideas or what ideas we are giving to the organization, so that they can come out with an innovative product and they can come out with innovation features. So even if there's a disruption in the business, or even if the business is down, what all we can do using design thinking to stay in the market or stay relevant in the market, so that we bounce back once the situation comes back to normal. So that was one of the case studies which we had worked on to come out with the innovators compass and to come out with the design thinking, applying design thinking process to innovate the product. So with this, this is what I wanted to cover today. Any quick questions and answers anyone has? And you can unmute yourself, I think now. You can unmute yourself and then speak if you have any questions. Yeah, Srini, go ahead. Yeah. Hello?
So I just wanted to ask you the future of design in emerging technology. How the design thinking is going to work for augmented reality, virtual reality, machine learning, and artificial intelligence.
Yes. So obviously, the entire thing about the AI or the robotic process automation, obviously they have used the design. Hello?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
Am I
Yeah,
audible?
yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So what I'm saying is, I mean, this is not only used in the traditional industry, as I said, it is used across the length and breadth of the industry. They're also using it in RPA. They're extensively using it in RPA to come out with. So if you would have seen, right, there's a Chennai restaurant. Hello, can you please be on mute? Yeah, so they've talked about a Chennai restaurant, right, where they had actually simulated the working of a waiter through a AI. So they have a robo who actually serves you at the table. So that entirely is based on design thinking principles. So it's not that this is only used in traditional industry. So when you're creating an empathy map, you have to understand what is the problem of the current user, and the solution of that would be a robo which would come out. Yeah, Srini, go ahead.
Yeah. So nowadays, artificial intelligence is capable of creating the interfaces itself by the algorithms what had been written. So in that scenario, as
Mhm.
I was just worried about the future of UX designers. Are they capable of handling these emerging technologies and inclusive design best practices?
No, definitely, because see, even to write that algorithm, you need to understand what the human action does, right? Or what is the empathy factor for the human being. So until and unless you know that, you can't write an algorithm. The basis of algorithm itself is the human action, which has to be automated. So to know that, you need design thinking.
Agree, sir. Thank you.
Mhm. Yes, anyone else has a question? So I'll just wait for a few minutes and see if there are any questions here. So what I would suggest is, meanwhile, if people are just thinking about question, is start applying these concepts. Okay, start applying these concepts So in automotive industry, where do we use design thinking? Okay, so your entire infotainment has come out of design thinking process, by the way. The car infotainment, the digitization, what has happened in the automobile industry, that entire thing has come out through design thinking, wherein you can actually get that entire thing on your dashboard coming up, right? So like your tire pressure measurement, that entirely has been developed using the design thinking principles, because I don't have to then walk out and check my tire pressure of my car. It directly displays on my screen. The car infotainment system, that's where the entire design thinking principles have been applied, and you come out with innovative products. How is design thinking different from blue ocean strategy? See, yes, it will be linked to the blue ocean strategy, but design thinking is concentrated at a innovation level. It's at a product level. Blue ocean is a overall organization strategy, that how do we go into that zone where we eliminate the competition, or where there is no competition. We are the first mover advantage. To get that first mover advantage, design thinking is one of the aids for your blue ocean strategy, if I were to put it. I think that was a question from Devang, but he has left. But blue ocean is more about that how in the market space you create that zone where no one enters, and you are like in a monopolistic situation, like what Geo did with the telecom infrastructure, or what Geo did in the telecom industry. That was a blue ocean strategy. Design thinking is one of the ways, or one of the aids for blue ocean strategy. That's what I would say. So if there are no further questions, then I think we are good to close. So, so thanks a lot. I hope this was a useful session for all of you, and I hope you learned something new today. And please apply this in your day-to-day activities. So you can just search for design thinking Stanford University, and you'll get a lot of material on the internet. So there's a lot of material on the internet. And thanks a lot for joining, and happy to be associated with ProThoughts for delivering this session. So special thanks to Ashish and his team, Hardika also, for arranging this session and giving me an opportunity. So thanks all a lot to everyone. And this is Ashutosh signing off from the session. Thank you very much.